Welcome to Indie Film Forum. I'm your host, Kalpana Biswas. Today's episode is part 2 of a special 2-part program featuring artist and producer-director Gregory Scott Williams, Jr. Today we'll discuss Greg's films introducing August Wilson and Sonny's Blues. Greg, you came back to Pittsburgh after all your travels around, and what did you find? What was Pittsburgh like as a filmmaking center?
I found a place where I can live affordably and make films and focus on making these independent short documentaries. I came to visit my brother. My brother went to grad school here. I came to visit, met Vanessa, ended up shooting the documentary, and after we shot, I decided to move back to New York.
You're talking about Tar Baby Jane.
Tar Baby Jane. And then moved to New York for a year, and it's like, why not stay in Pittsburgh? Where it's affordable, there's burgeoning arts community here, and I can live there longer on the money that I have saved than I can in New York. And there's been a wonderful independent film community here. And so I decided to stay for a little while. It's
interesting because I know we have the film office, and I know that there are films being made here. A lot of the Hollywood blockbusters are made in Pittsburgh now because it's such an attractive city, and there are tax incentives and things like that. I haven't heard of this whole independent filmmaking becoming a part of that whole movement, but with people like you coming back into Pittsburgh, I think that seems like a distinct possibility. What do you think we need here, and what has helped you? What's the support group that you found?
Well, for me, it's been the fact that you can live in a clean city that has a vibrant arts community that's affordable. That was the primary thing. There are services, there are places like Pittsburgh Filmmakers, who they have equipment, they have a studio, they have classes for independent filmmakers. So there is a support network. There are a lot of independent filmmakers here if you need to crew up to shoot something. So it can be done here. There was also, I was receiving financial support from grants, from the foundations that are here, the Pittsburgh Foundation, the Heinz Endowments, the Greater Pittsburgh Arts Council, GPAC. So, all of those things factored into the decision to say, come back and to stay. In terms of what it needs, what I need is more funding, to do larger projects as an independent filmmaker. I just recently received a grant from the Heinz Endowments and the Pittsburgh Foundation to complete work on a featured screenplay. And I would love to shoot that in Pittsburgh. So we'll see if we're successful raising the money here to shoot that. You mentioned the tax credits. I think those need to be extended so that it's not just the big Hollywood films that can take advantage of the tax credits, but so that people like me, independent filmmakers, will be able to attract investors with these tax credits or tax incentives. So I think that needs to happen, and I think it is happening. I know there's been some discussion of expanding the tax credit so that more people can take advantage of it, so that you just don't have 2 films come in and then the reserve for that tax credit is exhausted by 2 or 3 big Hollywood films. And people like me will have an opportunity to take advantage of something like that. People are aware of it, and I believe it's in the works.
Also, I think this whole process of trying to attract people who are in the minority groups, people of color, to come into the arts or to come into filmmaking. You've made this film that I think is really interesting, that showcases a project trying to get young people involved with the arts.
Introducing August Wilson is a profile of Bill Nunn and the Bill Nunn Theater Outreach Program. So what they do is there's a national August Wilson monologue competition, and they prep the kids from Pittsburgh to participate in the national August Wilson monologue competition. And those kids come from high schools throughout Pittsburgh, and he's involved with coaching the winners of the Pittsburgh portion of the competition, coaching them so that they can participate in the national part of the competition. And the experience with the film is that, you know, what it does is it gives them a different perspective on their lives. Like, I think it broadens their view of themselves in many ways to deal with the work of August Wilson. So that the woman in the film, or the young lady in the film that we did, Tambi, who actually won the competition when we shot the film, she was dealing with these issues in her community, you know, issues of violence, and like, how do I separate myself from this, and how do I preserve something good in me and still strive to be something better when I'm surrounded by all of this madness, particularly the violence. And I think that August Wilson deals with violence, and I think that being a part of that program helped her to deal with the environment that she was growing up in, and help her to see that what she needed to do was to continue with her academics. Like, that was her ticket out of that environment. And that's how she dealt with some of the emotions of that environment. So in a way, doing the play or doing the program, the competition, was therapeutic for her, because she wasn't alone, and the characters were able to give voice to the experience that she was living.
So let's watch the film.
Oh Lord, Berta, Berta, oh Lord, Jaloa, oh Lord, Berta, Berta, oh Lord, Jawella, oh Lord.
Tambi has gone through so much herself in terms of her health, in terms of just, you know, her self-esteem. And once she met Bill, she was a transformed young woman altogether.
And Mary, don't you wait on me, Willa. I might not want your way. I go free. They don't understand the Mills holds everything together. You close down the mill and wait. You close down the mill and wait and see what happened then.
So I didn't get a sense of how you were going to do it that time. That's what I want on this last time we do it. A sense of how we're going to really go for it.
Why I want to bring another life into this world that don't respect me?
What happened just then? Did you forget?
Yeah, I kind of like skipped the line.
Well, are you going to do that
No.
at the competition? This is an exercise, you guys. See, we're doing good. Let's go, Tambi.
They pull him out the freezer and she look at him. She don't want to look. They make her. I ain't going through that. I ain't having this baby and I ain't got to explain it to nobody. Damn.
Great. Watch your ending, though, honey.
Yeah.
Don't be so abrupt. End it. Let it sink in on it. Let it saute on your ass, you know? There's a very small number of kids that technically win this competition, but I think they all win in terms of the experience that they get out of this.
Hey, Bill. Hi, Bill.
Why aren't you here, Bill?
When kids come together and achieve something as a group, they just feel so good about themselves, and a lot of times it's even life-changing. You know, it's stuff that will be with them for life.
Being where I was in the community that I was in, it was not safe, and I didn't feel safe because, you know, like, there's a lot of problems going on around, and then like people fighting and shooting and stuff like that, and I just need to get up out of there because it was just not my place. Like, it wasn't where I was supposed to be.
Were you fighting and were you?
No, it was just me being in the atmosphere of it just made my attitude very crappy and ratchet. Because like sometimes you have to be ratchet to coexist with ratchetness.
Oh, get it.
I got diagnosed with cancer, and I figured, like, thank goodness I came here to Pittsburgh. This is the best town in the world for medical treatment. So I've just been here ever since. Now I have my outreach program, and I have my doctors here, and it's just worked out really great.
We were working together with August when he was writing the last play. Then when he got diagnosed with the cancer and passed away like 5 months after that. And that was a very painful time in our lives. But we said, and Todd said, what, you know, they have these Shakespeare festivals and competitions. Why not have an August Wilson competition?
I thought it was so important for Pittsburgh young people to be aware of August Wilson, because he is from here. He is a person that they can latch on to and gain so much pride. The thought of somebody that grew up on these streets here and achieved this kind of greatness. And these kids have to be aware of him, and they have to have some pride in that in Pittsburgh.
How many people, especially people of color, that have been on a Broadway stage at your age?
Just because you can lay down and open your legs to a man, don't make you a woman.
I swear they ain't standing there. That don't mean nothing to me because he said he didn't do it.
What she know? Who taught her? I'm trying to figure out myself.
Thank you.
The Undertaker got so much business, he don't know what to do. He loses sleep. He got to hire 2 more helpers to go with the 2 he already got. He didn't even look at the bodies no more. He couldn't tell you what they look like. He don't remember the problems he had with them. This one's so big and fat, if he fall the tables, take 6 minutes to pick him up. That one ain't got no cheek. That one's eyes won't stay closed. The other one been dead so long he got maggots coming out of his nose. The family can't pay for that one. The corner wants to see the other one again. That one's mother won't go home. The other one, I ain't going through that. I ain't having this baby, and I ain't got to explain it to nobody.
I portrayed Tanya from King Haley II, and basically it highlighted about the violence and people getting shot. I connected to the character through personal experience through family, friends. I can relate to this. This is what happens every day where I'm from. You know, this is true. This is my life. So it's like, okay, just do what you do every day. You know, react how you react if it's actually happened. You know. So it's just like, bam, this is how I feel, because I could never say that if I ever got in that situation. Like, so for me to portray it through a monologue, it's like me finally saying what I really want to say. And it just feels so wonderful. Like, to actually, like, accomplish something this big at my age is just crazy to me. I never thought that when I was 17 I would perform on Broadway and win. Performing on Broadway was just a highlight of my life. I felt so alive, you know. I felt like I'm here and I left my mark finally, you know, like I actually matter in this world, you know. That's how I felt. I won for y'all. I won for this entire city. I love Bill. He is amazing. He's like a dad to me. I love him. I love him.
We're not gonna be there anywhere close to 6:30.
Well, if you don't want to go, I mean, you can...
Listen, I'm driving. But
I
you
want to
know,
go.
We're not even gonna...
No, I'm just saying, if I know it's ridiculous, but I want to go. We're not gonna make it, man. Why? Because we're still on the north side. It's at 6:30. We thought it was at 7. What's the point of walking in there late? This kind of thing can impact kids for life, that sense of achievement through art. Art is important, and I do feel a responsibility to try to turn young people on to something that has had such a positive impact in my life. And I think if you get a chance to help somebody ultimately it helps you.
When she stepped on stage and said, "My name is Tambasi Lake Kaloe," I just felt in my heart that she was gonna win. I prayed for her to win, and she won.
She was talking just about her life. So it's the winning of this thing really transformed us. Now we even know who August Wilson is. You know how we live in Duquesne. Our life is precarious. We are always dodging bullets.
Yeah.
We are always being shot at. I mean, just the things we've gone through. To see her do this thing, and she couldn't have summarized it better when she said her winning was not just for her, but it was for the other kids that wanted to do this but could not do it.
I'm just so happy that I got the opportunity to be in the midst of all of this, you know.
You're a true inspiration, Tambi. You are. You are, babe. The kids have learned so much from you. Gonna miss you so much.
To have somebody like Tambi express gratitude for this, yeah, I appreciate that a lot. But she's got to realize that I get more out of it than she does, you know. I mean, for me to be able to help young people gives me so much that, you know, it's hard to express.
It's incredible how Bill Nunn works with the young people and the confidence that they end up with. Mm-hmm. What are the other projects that you found you know, as meaningful?
The Bill Nunn piece introducing August Wilson, the whole experience of making the film, meeting Bill Nunn, working with the kids, following them to New York, and seeing them develop and grow as a result of being a part of that experience was rewarding. I was making the film because I was a part of a fellowship, a national media fellowship called the Game Changers Project. And it's a fellowship for black men, so they had 4 local filmmakers in Pittsburgh, and we all went out and made a micro documentary about a local nonprofit that was involved in changing the lives of youth in the city, especially black youth. So being involved in that program as well, you know, was a wonderful experience because I got a chance to meet and work with other emerging filmmakers here in Pittsburgh. A short film that I did in film school years ago, Sonny's Blues, was, you know, this wonderful process of learning how to be on set and work with actors. Saul Williams was in that piece, and Charles Parnell. So, you know, these who've gone on to become these, you know, wonderful actors and be involved with these wonderful projects. You know, that was a good experience, you know, producing a film with Seath Man, 5 Deep Breaths, that whole process of putting together a crew and making sure that the director had what he needed to get the work done the way he wanted to do it was a wonderful experience.
So you were a producer on that?
I was a producer on that one, yeah.
You've talked about the Game Changers project.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have the flight school over here that you mentioned.
Right. The flight school was a professional development fellowship.
From Pittsburgh Filmmakers.
Pittsburgh Filmmakers, yeah. Pittsburgh Filmmakers and Pittsburgh Center for the Arts. So Pittsburgh Filmmakers. And again, it was a professional development fellowship, so we got a chance to go in and pitch our work and refine our pitches and, you know, take grant writing courses and budget courses and internet courses, and it was the best thing that came out of that experience for me was the group of people that I was around. So there were these amazing artists there participating in that program, and, you know, it's been a nice network of people to be around for that intense period of time.
What do you have to do to become the kind of you know, filmmaker who gets funded?
I don't know. I think for me, it's, you know, the grant writing process and learning that process. It's a different type of writing. So when I first started writing grants, I was trying to bring my voice as a writer that I would bring to a screenplay or a short story, and that's not what it's about. It's about being concise. That process was a difficult one for me to learn. But having learned it, I think that, you know, I'm grateful to be able to get funding from foundations and organizations to support the work that I'm doing. Like I wouldn't have been able to do the work that I've been doing without those grants, without those fellowships. So I'm very grateful to have that. And I would say to young filmmakers or independent filmmakers here or artists, keep working on that application and keep working on those projects to hone them to attract funding. What's wonderful about a program like Flight Schools is it gives you an opportunity to sit down and think about preparing those applications. So for those applications, you need artist statements and budgets and project descriptions. So that's what those artist development fellowships are about, is helping you to hone those skills so that you can attract funding. I do want to take it to the next level, so I need more money that, getting the grants will hopefully put me in a position to attract.
So which is the project that you're talking about?
Well, I'm working on a couple of things. One is a feature screenplay called Window Panes. So I just received a grant to finish the writing of that screenplay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was from the Heinz Endowments and the Pittsburgh Foundation, an Advancing Black Arts in Pittsburgh grant. So we'll continue to write that and then get it out and try to get some talent attached and try to get some investors or a studio or some money to actually make it. The other thing that I'm working on, I've been developing a television series over the past few years. And actually Tar Baby Jane, which we screened in the last episode, was meant to serve as a pilot for that series.
I hope that you do get the funding that you're looking for.
Thank you.
It's
So do I.
very reassuring to know that that funding is available and that I guess projects that engage the community seem to be the ones, and your projects certainly seem to be doing that. We leave you with an excerpt of his film, Sonny's Blues.
Hey. Hey. Is Sonny there? Hey. What's up? Nobody's heard from you in a while.
starting to get a little worried. So are you working? What are you doing?
You want to be a concert pianist? You want to play classical music and all that, or what?
No. I want to play jazz.
Look, I could get you something at the school if you just cleaned yourself up a little bit. Look, Sonny, what are you going to do? You can't sit around living like this. You might as well be dead as live like this. Look, don't worry about me any more in life. As far as you're concerned, I'm dead.
Thank you. Obrigado. That's so nice. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello. Am I blue? Am I blue? Am I blue? You'd be too. If your dreams like your schemes done fell through. There was a time